Alien tombs discovered then covered up. In this article, we have covered a wide range of ancient mysteries that may indicate the existence of a technologically advanced but now lost society. Ability to generate great heat, enabling advanced metallurgy, and in some circumstances, the transformation of stone into magma. This knowledge and technology was lost. In particular, the slab of Beit Sharim, a massive glass slab estimated to be thousands of years old, may be seen when apart. To make such a massive old glass object, however, would have required a huge furnace. Surprisingly, they all have mysterious parallels to the set of artifacts that serve as the video's central focus. The ancient Peruvian death mask was one of 7 artifacts uncovered on Melbourne Beach, Florida, in 2019. Artifacts made of copper, gold, and silver have confused scientists after they analysed their metal compositions. Nonetheless, the existence of iridium was the biggest surprise to those looking into the goods, as this element is so uncommon that it is often only discovered in meteorites. However, its melting point remains a mystery, as does how the Inca allegedly made them, assuming they were truly responsible. Artifacts depicting well-recognized Incan deities, like the goddess Varicesha, have been dated to around 12,000 years ago. Iridium has a melting point of 2446 degrees Celsius. Hence, any artifact dated to such enormous ages, yet made with such enormous temperatures furnaces, and metallurgies reported as undiscovered during or prior to its claimed eras, or ages of construction just shouldn't exist, but they do. How did the Inca get their hands on such exotic materials? How did they heat metals to such extremes so early in recorded history? The possibility of their actual origins is very intriguing to us. In the first wing of the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, near to the room with the mummies, there is a little unassuming display cabinet containing an unexpected find. A trilobed disc, constructed of a brittle stone called schist and resembling a wheel or discus, has become notorious in certain circles for its mystery and lack of explanation. Puzzles all who have looked at it, but notably the few Egyptologists who have had the opportunity to study it in depth. In 1936, while excavating the Sakura archaeological zone, Emery discovered the tomb of Prince Sabu, where the trilobe disc was among many other artifacts with varied functions. Emery is widely regarded as one of the most influential Egyptologists of the 20th century, and his book, Egyptology, Archaic Egypt, is still widely used as a reference today. The schist ball-shaped container caught Emery's eye instantly, and he later defined it as such in his observations on tombs from the First Dynasty. He remarked on the topic, this time using a phrase that aptly described the situation: kachibachi. A kachibachi is a small hole that threatens to become bigger and bigger, expressing the discomfort the object was creating. It appears that Emery, like many others in his area, has maintained his career and fame by openly and consciously preventing such works from gaining traction in the public sphere, blocking our access to the full tale of Egypt's past, and, at the very least, forcing us to doubt the official narrative. A satisfactory explanation on the specific design of this thing, or even its manufacture, has not yet been obtained, he said at the end of his cited passage. The wheel arrived in Egypt at the same time as the Hyksos invasion of 1640 BC, which ended the Middle Kingdom. Egyptologist Cyril Allred, looking at the disc more than 1,000 years after its construction, concluded that it was in fact a duplicate of a much older metallic item. Something about the object's design, particularly a feature near the central opening, led him to believe it was simply a component of a larger system, and that a stone replica, created by an unknown artisan using unknown means, preserved it. Its intricate construction at such a primitive time in ancient Egyptian history suggests its origins may have been considerably more amazing than current residents assume. There is a good chance that this artifact is a relic of someone's advanced technologies that have been forgotten over the centuries. Its exact function, history, and even construction are all mysteries that have yet to be explained. You may have heard of Oumuamua, the alien who came to Earth from another solar system a few years ago. After successfully detecting it as it traversed the solar system, it was given the official designation 2017 U1. Robert Work, using the Pan-STARRS telescope at Hawaii's Haleakala Observatory, made the discovery on October 19, 2017. Suddenly, he noticed the odd thing many individuals have speculated about the object's origins and identity in the 40 days since the solar transit on September 9 that year. Although many have faced criticism, few have faced the level of opposition that Avi Loeb did in November of 2018. When he released a new study in an astrophysics journal, it was one of dozens published year by scientists, most of which receive scant media coverage. Loeb's most recent book, however, has received an unusually large amount of backlash and criticism for tackling the taboo issue of aliens inside an ostensibly legitimate sector. In the paper, the enigmatic space rock is discussed, and it is proposed that the object probably travelled for billions of years past numerous other stars before arriving at our own. Astronomers generally believe that Oumuamua is a strange comet, a relic of another solar system that was thrown into interstellar space by natural processes and is currently heading towards us. Oumuamua could be a probe one purposely sent to our solar system by an alien civilization. The detection of extraterrestrial beings has been proposed as an alternative explanation. The most pivotal discovery in all of science, it is also worth noting that our society as a whole holds a number of beliefs that are neutral on the question of whether or not aliens actually exist. Nonetheless, many people in the modern world are driven by the hope of someday discovering extraterrestrial sapient life and knowing that we are not alone. Hence, it should come as no surprise that his views have been hotly disputed, though there does appear to be another probable reason why the study has been so widely reported on. This is due to the fact that Loeb holds a permanent position in Harvard's astronomy department. Say, for example, this astronomer was from Equatorial Guinea, where he or she would be completely unknown. Loeb's Harvard colleague and Dunlap Institute for Astronomy and Astrophysics director, Brian Gensler, agrees that many astronomers have outlandish ideas that no one takes seriously, although the media typically doesn't pay much attention to them. Was Oumuamua really an ancient alien's exploratory craft, one eavesdropping on ours and many other solar systems? Loeb has 2 decades of experience and is well known in the subject. Thus, his opinions matter despite what others would have him believe. If so, we are not alone, and if we have been found, then the professor's views, no matter how unpopular, become all the more convincing. Elongated skulls have been found in ancient cultures worldwide, and some isolated groups still practice the artificial practices that cause them. Moreover, because to our newfound knowledge and extensive study of the previously discovered remains, we have a firm grasp on the mechanisms by which this artificial elongation is achieved, as well as the peculiarities associated with a few particularly noteworthy specimens. For instance, archaeologists can learn a lot about the ancient Han culture from analysing skeletons, thanks to the universality of certain cranial traits. But what makes some, like the Paracas skulls or the stolen skulls from Malta's lost beliefs, so intriguing? That feature isn't there, or if it is, it's not distorted, indicating the prior owners of these skulls probably had it naturally. Because of this, many people have speculated that they were either an extinct subspecies or an ancient alien visitor. If we study the providence of these beings, we might possibly attribute their superior intelligence in part to their larger-than-average brains. These remarkable acoustic qualities can be found in the skulls of numerous ancient Egyptian pharaohs, as well as those discovered in the Maltese ruins. Their graves show that they were respected citizens of these communities, and may have even helped improve the arts and sciences at these locations. The most peculiar are those that have been found at numerous ancient sites, such as the so-called extraterrestrial mines on the shores of Lake Superior, yet show no signs of binding. Lloyd Pye has also made a fortune by publicizing the discovery of a peculiar humanoid skull he created a few years ago. While some have disregarded the skull as a deformity, many others continue to hold fast to the theory that it is the skull of a human-alien hybrid, despite the obvious artificial binding. There are still many unanswered concerns, such as why some of the skulls look natural, why the ancient practice was carried out, who inspired it, why the exquisite skulls of Malta were stolen, and whether or not we are really gazing at the remains of ancient alien visitors. We find this field of study in the past to be really fascinating. Russian President Vladimir Putin recently travelled to the enigmatic ruins of the long-lost city of Artyom. Archive Valley was supposed to be flooded in 1987, but historians, archaeologists and ufologists have spent decades trying to piece together its mysteries. For example, which nation was present in the valley over 40 centuries ago? And how did its inhabitants achieve such incredible technological progress on Earth? To help arid farmland, local officials had planned to build a reservoir there. However, researchers were startled to find mysterious ancient circles in the valley's heart, and authorities granted archaeologists a year to investigate the area. The strange earthworks themselves aren't what's brought a slew of famous scientists to this otherwise unremarkable part of the Russian terrain. Rather, it's the surprising discovery beneath them. Researchers Maria Makarova and her team suspected the extraordinarily well-preserved skeleton was that of a lady from the Sarmati tribe, who lived in the area now spanning Ukraine, southern Russia, and Kazakhstan, roughly 1,000 years ago. Although this would seem to be the next obvious step for any and all professionally sponsored academics. It is regrettable that it looks to be an attempt to denigrate the genuine probable usefulness of these remains. That, while being honest and forgiving, would be upset by public pronouncements based on current evidence, such as the possibility that the Sarmatia tribe engaged in head binding. While this practice is widely considered to have originated in other regions of the world, there is no evidence within the tribe itself to suggest that this is the case. Furthermore, when head binding was performed, telltale signs of it were left on the skull, like distorted cranial napping and abnormal stitching. Sadly, the stitching will always be visible and identifiable, despite the fact that images of this skull reveal remarkably little in the way of binding. The absence of any obvious stitching in the head is, arguably, even more concerning. Skull plate stitching is a natural phase of development that is shared by all humans, yet this skeleton lacks it. Is the strange tribal member buried at this old, enigmatic place an anomaly, or something else entirely?